Hello, Gremolinos. It is a new reading vlog, and I am Catherine, your favorite asthmatic, mostly 10-fingered, chaotic reading vlogger, chaotic reader. But yeah, I currently have a cat who is attached to me, but he won't let go of me. So we're gonna hold the camera like this. So I am doing, you can see the book behind me. Oh, it matches my coffee cup, kind of. So I am doing just like a very random vlog. All my vlogs are seemingly very random, but this one is because I have a bunch of gay books in from the library. So this is gonna be gay read books. One book is physical. It's right here. I'll talk to you about it in a sec. The other three are all Libby holds that came in, or I like found the book really fast. And they're all gay, in various ways. One is, I'll get into them when I get into them, but I just want to get the vlog started because it is early. I have coffee, it's behind me. I'm wearing a Harley and Ivy shirt. Binks is glaring at me. And I did start reading a tiny bit of Is This a Cry for Help by Emily Austen. I really liked Interesting Facts About Space, and I have a hold for Someday Everyone in This Room Will Die. I believe that's the full name. I, though, have not had a chance to get that one. My library, like, doesn't have a copy that's easily accessible. So I am waiting for that to come in. It won't be in this vlog, but eventually I'll read that one because I feel like that's the one that everyone read first. I just happened to read Interesting Facts About Space because it was on the Pride table ages ago at my library, but this one was in, and I was really excited to read it because I've heard good things from two different people, including my sister. My sister read this one. So I am looking forward to it. I haven't read enough to really tell you anything. We are following, what is her name? Hold on. Darcy. So we're following Darcy. She works at a library, and she's just back from a 2-month leave of absence because of something that happened. She kind of had like a mental kind of thing. And her wife, like, they agreed she needed to take 2 months off. And so she's getting used to being back at the library. This is her first day back. And of course, the first day starts with someone watching an adult film on a computer, which technically you are allowed to do at the library, so long as no one can hear it, which I had no idea. I mean, it makes sense, technically, like, the computer is for public use. I would think you'd maybe pick a computer kind of out of the way. And he's not doing anything, guys, just watching it. But that's the opening of this, is she starts her first day back with having to kind of politely be like, make sure you're wearing headphones or mute your videos, please, because the guy's just there. And of course people are upset about it, which I mean, I can see, in all honesty. But yeah, so I just know that's the beginning of the book. Again, not far at all. I am excited to keep reading it though, because I did really enjoy Interesting Facts About Space, and I'm curious to see this with a married character instead of in Interesting Facts About Space, that character was single and dating. But this, Darcy is also dealing with a loss that kind of kicked off the issue that resulted in her having to call out for 2 months of work. So yeah, I am curious to see where it goes. The books in this vlog have like no theme, just that they are gay. In that the main characters are gay. The story itself focuses on gay things. For those who don't know, I identify as bi, but also I'm fine if you call me like gay, queer, whatever. I'm married to my wife, Krista, and yeah, just there you go, as identifiers, but I'm fine if you call me kind of whatever at this point in my life. I typically wear things that are like indicate that I'm bi, or like if we go to Pride, I do like bi makeup or like wear bi stuff, but I don't mind if you call me really anything. So it won't bother me. So I just wanted to let you know. But yeah, so let's have some fun. Let's do gay things. Let's just be gay and read. So I gotta go. Work is about to start. I just wanted to start this vlog up, but I will talk to you when I have some kind of update, my dear Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. It is late in the day. It is almost 7:30, which means I have to take Chloe out soon. I technically have green on because Poison Ivy is green. It is St. Patrick's Day. I had a very busy day at work. So did Krista at her respective work. But I wanted to show you because on her way home, she stopped at the grocery store because she wanted to pick up sauerkraut. She picked up corned beef and cabbage for us at a local restaurant. It was actually really good. Krista just prefers sauerkraut, so she wanted to pick that up. But she managed to find this green cider that I wanted to try from 1911. And to show you how green it is, I poured it into my Read the Room glass cup. It is so green. This is the cup. You can barely see what it says. It's so green. It is just like their standard cider. No like fancy flavor, it's just bright green. But it was very fun and I really appreciate her picking all that stuff up, especially because her day was super busy. Her whole week is insane this week. Her schedule is really packed. And like I'm busy, but like my schedule ends, technically I'm supposed to be done at 5, but I keep winding up with something that I'm doing like after 5. So I don't think I've gotten off on time at all this week, which is kind of my own doing, but also like part of my job is like handling some stuff and sometimes it goes over. So it just is what it is. But I wanted to show you the cider because it's so green. Like if you've seen the Bob's Burgers episode where Linda, it's called Flat Top of the Morning to You, Linda dyes like everything in the restaurant green. This feels like the color beer you would get from Linda. Like this is so green. I'm gonna like slowly drink that for the rest of the evening because we're going upstairs soon. So just a fun fact for you, we normally wind up going upstairs to the bedroom around like 7:45ish. Sometimes like 8, sometimes it's later, but like the standard time is like around 8. And then we get situated and get ready for bed because we're normally both pretty tired. And even if we don't go to sleep right away, like that's when we like get everyone settled for bed. And then I have to get up at 6 with Chloe to give her liver meds, and then we get back up around like 7:30 depending on the day, because she has to take additional meds. So our schedule kind of revolves around like 7ish a.m. and like 7ish p.m. She definitely wants me to take her out though. She's very ready. I'll probably take her out as soon as I finish filming this clip. I do want to tell you that I am very much enjoying Is This a Cry for Help? I was wrong though. My sister read Someday in This Room Everyone Will Be Dead, which she did warn me is like pretty heavy reading. At least she and I could see that because some of the topics, like grief is a key topic in Is This a Cry for Help. But at this point I only have like 80-ish pages left, so I'm just gonna finish it before I give you thoughts. There's some sections I want to talk about without like spoiling anything, but I am going to like give you some insight into some things that like really resonated with me, because I know I gave you like a brief synopsis that this is Darcy, and Darcy is dealing with the death of a former boyfriend. So that I will get into that without spoiling too much, and I'll talk more about like her current relationship and everything like that. But yeah, but I need to go because Chloe really wants me to take her out. But I really wanted to show you the beer because I very much appreciated that Krista found it. Well, it's cider, but you know, but like I had no idea it was even in the area, and she's like, yeah, no, I found it at Piggly Wiggly. So it was very, very sweet of her. She also went to the library for me and picked up The Body, because my other book I guess isn't in yet. It's in transit, but maybe it's coming from far away. But those aren't in this vlog. I just knew that I had a book in, and she went and picked it up for me. But I'm gonna take Chloe out. I have to feed her. She has to eat with her medicine, so she eats like a very late dinner, so I gotta do that. Also, we had a giant snowstorm. I'm so sorry, I'm really tired today. If you can't tell. So yesterday I didn't really vlog much, but it was like weirdly like in the 60s and it felt like it was gonna tornado. So I'm from Ohio, if you don't know, and like it felt like Midwestern spring summer, like when like key tornado season, like when you know the tornadoes be coming. That's what it felt like all day yesterday. The wind was super high. It was like a weird, like too muggy, but also like just weird. So it felt like tornado season so much, and I was like, oh, this is not great. And then overnight, like the temperature started dropping. Like when I took the dogs out, it was already like in the 30s, which it's like a 30-degree temperature drop. And today it's been in like the 20s. Freaking freezing, like it's horrible. And there's a huge snowstorm, like wild wind, like snow everywhere. It went from like fake spring / summer to dead of winter, and it's miserable. But yeah, I also rubbed up like all the other on this eye. Oops. But yeah, so the weather is trash. It is though supposed to warm up again, so Krista, I felt so bad. I got so busy that I didn't get to shovel the base of the driveway, and we live on a corner, which I think they use as an excuse to box us in sometimes. So they'll literally just like dump snow and ice in our driveway just because. Like we've literally seen them line up the like shovel of the snowplow and just shove it into our driveway and then drive off instead of like doing what they're supposed to do. So we wind up with a ton, and we've called and never complain about snow ever, because it'll get worse. And so now we just consistently get like a ton of snow, but it wasn't even snow. They shoved a ton of ice from the messed up ice blocks at the end of the street into our driveway, and Krista moved it when she got home from work because I was still working, and I was like, oh my god. So I felt really bad because I kept trying to get out to like go deal with it, and it just didn't happen. Like I was constantly doing stuff, but I need to take Chloe out. Now I'm just complaining about snow and being busy. I do, I would like to point out, I actually do really like my job. I'm not going to tell you about it in detail, but I really like my job for the most part. It just, like, I'm supposed to get a lunch break, and in the current setup I'm doing, and with Krista's current schedule, I basically, like, take a lunch, but I'm still sitting right by my computer, so it's really hard for me not to, like, just keep working. So that's on me, and I could be better at setting boundaries during my 30-ish minutes. But I don't, so it really is on me. But it's just like, I feel bad, and then I wind up busy with stuff. But I'm gonna go. I will talk to you about this tomorrow, because I'm gonna try and finish this before I go to bed, so I can start the next book tomorrow during the day, like during my lunch. Because Krista has already told me she can't come home for lunch tomorrow. She couldn't come home today either, mostly because of the weather, but she doesn't think she can come home tomorrow or Thursday, which sucks. She doesn't even get to be here for very long. She comes home for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then she goes back. But I want to finish this tonight, and I don't have a lot left, so that's the goal. But I will talk to you tomorrow morning with my coffee. I promise Grandma Lee knows, because I'm going to show you my fancy coffee that I'm doing right now, because I bought creamer. You'll see. I don't use creamer a lot, but I feel very fancy currently. But I gotta go. I gotta take out a glow. So I will see you in the morning. Good morning, Grandma Lee knows. You cannot see me. I'm so tired today. So I'm making coffee. This is actually my second cup of coffee. But yeah, second cup of this coffee. I'm exhausted. So I'm making Irish cream coffee from Joffrey's. This is, I showed it in another video, but it has like some kind of Irish whiskey flavoring in it to make Irish cream. And then I was able to find the actual Irish creamer that I like. I don't use this very often, but I really like this flavor. And I really wanted to pair it with the coffee. So I'm brewing coffee right now, and then I actually pulled out my frother. Chris got this for me ages ago because it can like foam. Ooh, I told you, I'm tired. It can do like cold foam, heat things, like do a bunch of stuff. So I'm doing like a hot foam right now to put on top of this coffee. I'll show you the finished product when it's all done, and then I do want to talk to you about my book, but that might have to wait a tiny bit. I have to see. I just like, I'm so tired. I came into work super early and did a bunch of stuff before I was even technically like on the clock or whatever. So I just need some coffee. But I did finish Is This a Cry for Help? So I'll talk to you about that very, very soon. I think, yeah, I should be able to. But I will be right back, show you the finished product, do all that jazz. I just wanted to show you the process of the coffee making. Okay, I decided I'm gonna pour it on camera because I have to actually wash this before I put it away. So behold, warm, foamy creamer, making my coffee look so fancy. I cannot do latte art. I don't know how to do it. I didn't even try. But I feel like it's a very like Gilmore Girls-y Central Perk looking cup just because it's so big. But I gotta wash this, and then I will talk to you in a little bit, my dear Grandma Lee knows. Okay, hello Grandma Lee knows. Yes, I'm in the same spot on the couch. Sorry, it's gonna happen a lot in this vlog, I think. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. I'm so tired. My brain feels like mush. Even though, again, this is my second one of these. I don't know why I'm so tired. But I am here to talk to you about Is This a Cry for Help? Which I very much enjoyed. So I did, again, I've already told you the premise of this book so many times. We are following Darcy over the course of like a few weeks, if even a few, it might just be a couple weeks. She has left work at a certain point and come back after a mental breakdown that was very much kicked off by the fact that she learned her ex-boyfriend had died. He had actually been dead for a little while and she had no idea. And the learning of his death really just like did something to her. She wasn't expecting it. She's never really had large mental health issues in her mind before. And this kicked off like a series of panic attacks where she could not function. So she actually there was a discussion of being placed on kind of like an inpatient psychiatric hold. I guess not really hold. She is put into inpatient for a little bit to regulate her. And her job is very understanding. She works at a local library. And then we're following her as she has come back, but unexpectedly, sort of, her wife, Joy, has had to go stay with her sister. So she is alone. And really, Sorry, I wheezed twice, like I felt them. Maybe I am getting sick. I don't know. So she is really just like alone with her thoughts at this point, and like there are two cats, and then a third cat appears. I'm not gonna get into too many details because this is lit fic, and it's oddly, I feel like, difficult to summarize lit fic without spoiling it, especially because the actual like summary of the book is a very limited amount of time. Like it does not cover much that appears in this book, but I will say, on top of the fact that Joy is kind of dealing with being by herself, there is an event at the library where someone is watching adult content on a computer. They're not doing anything untoward, there's just adult content on the screen, and this kicks off a small group of people being like, this library is immoral, we want books removed, like all of this stuff. They're talking about censorship, they're talking about like how the library doesn't align with their points of view, even though the library is just trying to be an open space for everyone. And this library itself has a policy that you can watch adult content so long as you're not being inappropriate, so long as either it is muted or you have headphones on. It's basically any content can be consumed on a library computer as long as it's not endangering yourself, others, or harming anyone. And there are like safety screens around the computer, so you have to kind of be like up on this person to see it. And that has kind of kicked everything off. Now, admittedly, I was surprised that we do learn a bit about why this person was at the library. Darcy herself is kind of like, well, they're allowed. Like, I did what I'm supposed to do. I made sure that their volume was off. Like, they're allowed. Like, they could be unhoused. They could not have the ability to own technology. And should adult content like this be only something that those who have privilege and have the means can access? No, I think they should be able, like anyone should be able to access it. And that is the library's kind of viewpoint on content on library computers. If you need to access it, you can. And again, the man watching this content is not doing anything untoward. It's just like on the screen. Like he's just sitting there, because a number of people assume he was like pleasuring himself while it's on. And she's like, no, he was just on. Like he wasn't doing anything. There was no inappropriate like behavior on his part. There are some odd things that occur at this library later, in which a crock pot is used, which was so surprising to me. But the story overall is just us following Darcy while she's coping with this new stressor that she was not anticipating, of people demanding censorship and changes to the library. Again, it's a small few, but they are really impacting Darcy's life, especially because someone has become kind of fixated on her from this group. On top of that, she is still coping and dealing with the death of Ben, who was her boyfriend before she realized that she was a lesbian. Now, there is a further examination of that, but it is just, he is a long-term partner that she had before she'd even thought about the fact that she could be into women. And the examination of that is very interesting. There is an age gap between the two of them, but the age gap is when she is in her early 20s. Yeah, early 20s. No, she is a teenager. She's like 18. And he's in his late 20s. So it's all legal, but she does indicate that she now realizes that she was perhaps too young to be with someone who was 10 years her senior. Now, if you've been around here for a while, you'll know that my wife and I also have a 10-year age gap, but we met when I was in my late 20s. So there's an age gap, but I was at the point that my brain was mostly fully developed, and I could make decisions, and I had a sense of self in some capacity. But just in case you're reading this, you're like, wait a minute, didn't Catherine at one point say that she and her wife are 10 years apart, much like Darcy and this Ben man? Yes, but it's a different 10-year age gap. I feel like if the 10-year age gap falls at a different time in your life, it's fine. There are some that are a bit odd, but ours I think is pretty normal based on when we met. So just throwing that out there. But the elements of this book that really resonated with me are kind of early in the book. I did appreciate watching Darcy contend with this grief, because it is also the idea that she somehow impacted Ben by leaving him. They were together for 5 years and she chose to leave him. And so she's kind of always thought about the fact that she harmed him, like her leaving him caused harm. And now him dying at an unexpected age is in some way due to her. So that is a lot of guilt that she's contending with on top of grief, even though the guilt, her therapist is pointing out, she could not control this. Like, she did not do this. Like, her existence and that breakup in the past, because it was like 10 years ago, is not something that she can directly hold like as a correlation for this event. We do get more info on a number of characters including Ben, to know like what happened to him, because Darcy actually had not been speaking to him for some time. The portion of the book that very much did resonate with me is there's a section where Darcy is talking about how she always kind of viewed herself in relationship to men and their approval, and she also like kind of presented herself for men. What she looked like, how she acted was for men, and in terms of dating, she also kind of thought of it as like, oh well, it's a guy, like sure. She had no real interest in like being with him now that she thinks back, but it felt like something she was supposed to do, and she kind of relayed feelings towards men in the same way, kind of like, oh well, I'm gonna eventually get married and do these things my mom wants me to do and society expects, and okay, sure, yeah, fine. And what was interesting to me is, well, I do identify as bi. I don't think I would have ever married a man. We do not need to get into the semantics of that. But when I got to the point where I was like dating, I guess, I'm not going to count like any, like I had a friend in high school where he like apparently liked me, but we never dated. I'm like not counting that. I did date a tiny bit in college. I dated like 3 guys. Some of those were very short-lived relationships. But I admittedly, in all those situations, someone either told me the person liked me or that person asked me out, and I was kind of like, oh sure, like okay, like you seem fine, okay. There was no like I'm into this person. It was more kind of like, well, they've asked me out, so it seems I should probably go out with them, right? So like that's odd. As I was reading that, I was like, that is also how I dealt with men asking me out. I just kind of was like, okay. And I was like, oh my goodness. Again, I was in college. I feel like that's allowed. But I was just never like entirely like motivated beyond like, oh, okay, we can like hang out. And like a lot of that, like I think I went on 1 date with one of the guys, and then technically we went on a second date, sort of. We went to the movies, his brother came, and then we like didn't talk after that. Also, I very much held it against him that he could not remember that I only drank black coffee at that time, and he brought me a coffee that was so much milk, I literally had to throw it away. And like he had seen me consistently drinking coffee because it was like all I did. And I was like, how? I've even talked about this so many times. Anyway, that was literally, that's not even a relationship. We went out on like 2 dates. Now I had dated a guy for longer, and I feel like that guy really was like, literally he only asked me out. He knew nothing about me. We were in the same class, and he asked me out after this class. It was a women's history class, and we went to a movie, and we dated for like a little bit, but throughout that relationship, it was mostly just like him wanting to like hang out at his house, and I'd be like, okay. And again, we're in college, and I was broke, so I was like, okay. I also lived at home. Like, we both lived at our respective parents' houses, so like I would just kind of like hang out when he wanted to. Like, that was really it. And we saw each other at school. Like, I don't know, it just like was not, yeah, like I really also just like went out with him because he asked me, and then we stayed together for a while, and then I eventually was like, I don't really want to keep dating. Like, I was just like, we don't really have any of the same interests. Like, why are we still dating? And then like there's a third guy, same kind of thing, where like he very much wanted to spend time together, and I was very into that, like spending time and hanging out, but like there was nothing really like big there. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, like we're hanging out. And then eventually we broke up for various reasons. We were long distance. He went to a completely different college, and he very much was insecure about the fact that we were not near each other, and he was very sure that like I would like cheat. And like I'm not a cheater, and it made me very upset that he even like questioned my character in that way. And I was like, we can't date anymore. Like, I can't talk to you. Like, we can't. No, this is not happening. So like but like in all of those relationships, I was just kind of like with the person and like going along, a bit like how Darcy is talking about it. And then when I met Krista, it was completely different. Like, I very much wanted to be around her and like talking with her, and I was very interested in her, and like it felt very different. And I was not worried so much about like making sure that I was like dressed a certain way or like presenting a certain way. Like, it was just me and Krista, which is very much how Darcy discusses her relationship with Joy. So that felt very like that connected with me very strongly. And like, I trust Krista, Krista trusts me. Like, there are no concerns. And we were long distance for a while, and we always trusted each other. Like, there was no concern, and no one was like frequently, like, you weren't fixated on like checking in with each other to make sure the person wasn't like not doing something you didn't want them or was doing something you didn't want them to do. Like, you trusted each other, and that was like new, and like it just felt so safe. Like, our relationship felt safe and like what it should be, and like really what I assumed the epitome of a relationship should be based on successful relationships I had seen, as opposed to anytime I'd been with a guy and was just like, we are together and we are fine. Like, I was just like around these guys hanging out. Like, I had no real interest in doing anything beyond that, just like hanging out. And then though in 2 of those situations, the person said I love you, and it shocked the crap out of me. But when Krista and I said it to each other, it was perfect. Like, it felt right. So like, again, this reiterates the point that while I do identify as bi, I again don't think I ever would have felt safe in a relationship, like a marriage, like my marriage, with a guy. Like, I think only have gravitated towards a woman. But again, if Krista, I can't get into the semantics of that, but like, I would be with Krista no matter what, is what I'm saying. This is a very long clip about that. There was also a discussion of like food and body and presentation of self and like thoughts on food. And I do think that is also something I know that I dealt with early on in college, especially as I was like trying to figure out who I wanted to be in college. And that was an issue for a while, where I was like very fixated on like calories and food consumption and like what I could eat and what I couldn't eat and like all of that. So like, that also felt very like connected to me, because she's also at that like discussing points in her life at that age where like it was when she went to college, and like that very much resonated with me because those thoughts came up during college, because I was trying to figure out like, well, I like, maybe I'll date now, because I didn't date in high school, and I was like, so I should probably like maybe think about this and like do this, and like it became a very like intensive thing for me, where I was constantly thinking about like food and like all of that. And it took a very long time for me to like deal with those thoughts and work through them. It still occasionally comes up, especially if I'm stressed. But those food thoughts were very present at about the same time. So like, the discussion of like presenting for male gaze or thinking about the male gaze in regards to who you are and how that impacts your life and like other things, that very much resonated with me in this book. So I don't know, I feel like it would resonate with a lot of women, even if they're not queer. The aspect of like men in some capacity will resonate more, I think, if you're a queer woman who took a while to actually figure out like what was going on with who you are and what you want in a relationship and who you want to be with, because it is very difficult, especially if you don't really have anything to compare yourself to. Like, there wasn't a lot of queer media, like, not until I was much older, and even then I was like, well, I mean, I'm probably not, right? Like, nah, I'm probably just gonna, well, I admittedly for a very long time just assumed I was going to be a spinster aunt, and I was fine with that. I was just gonna live alone, get a cat, and that was it. And then I met Krista, and that completely changed, and I shocked the crap out of her, because I had told her that I would never get married, and then we had a conversation where I casually was like, we're not honeymooning in Paris, I'm so sorry. And she was like, oh, we're not going on honeymoon in Paris, you say. And we were still dating, and I was like, oh, but yeah. So I did very much enjoy this. I do think Emily Austen does a great job of covering very intense topics. I know this clip is very long. I promise you the others will be short, but this book like brought up a lot of things for me, but I do need to go. I basically am using my lunch break to do this. It was close enough that I could mark that I was at lunch. So yeah, because it's a long clip, but I will talk to you later, Grimelinos, when I actually have my iPad. I brought it down here and it was dead. And I was going to show you the next book I was going to read, but I will wait and show you later when I can actually pull it up on a screen so you can see it. But I highly recommend this one. I am waiting to read some other Emily Austen later on, but that'll be in a while, and it'll either be in a vlog or it won't. But I can recommend Interesting Facts About Space if you haven't read that one. And my sister did like Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. She did say it was pretty heavy to get through, but that she did still enjoy it. But I must go. I will talk to you later when I have my next book pulled up. Hi, Grimelinos. Am I in the same spot as yesterday? Yes, but look, I'm wearing a different sweatshirt. This is my Salem Witch Museum sweatshirt. I am also coughing at an insane rate this morning. I don't know what's going on. We had a meeting for work. I'm taking like a 2-second break to tell you about a book I read. But I coughed like the entire meeting. I was trying to talk and just cough. But in my 5-minute break, I'm going to tell you about a book I actually already read. So I wound up reading But Not Too Bold by, I think it's Hachapueo, I think. This is a very short novella. So But Not Too Bold follows Dahlia, who becomes the keeper of the keys after the unexpected, yet not entirely unexpected, death of the former keeper of the keys. Dahlia was selected as an orphan. A number of orphans are brought to this house. The Capricious House is kind of what it's called. And she was selected to be the next keeper of the keys by the current keeper of the keys because she kind of wanted a granddaughter. She like chose this child, and asthma, the worst. And so Dahlia has been prepared to become the keeper of the keys, which means she will take care of the madam of the house, who is Anathema, who is like an ancient one. She is basically a spider creature, but in a sort of like Bluebeard-esque situation. She consistently is trying to have a bride. Brides come to her, but there's never a marriage. Like, there are brides, but nothing ever like becomes of them. And then Anatea keeps the memories of the brides in these like woven, I want to say like dioramas of sorts, and she has those. Now the issue is something is stolen from her, and that resulted in the death of the current keeper of the keys. And Dahlia, I think that's how you say it. I might be saying her name wrong. There is an accent mark over the A, and it's been so long since I took Spanish that I can't remember if that means it's Dahlia or like day. Like, I don't remember how you say the A. So I'm just calling her Dahlia because that's how it works in my brain. But if I'm saying it wrong, I'm very sorry. She's kind of charged with determining who committed the theft. And Anatea kind of has this like, well, if there's no other theft, then I'm going to eat you. Like, there's a whole thing where like Dahlia could die at any moment because Anatea does eat people. Like, that's her thing. If she gets upset, if she gets angry, if you betray her or whatever, she eats you. And so while this like investigation is going on, Dahlia is spending more and more time with Anatea, and Anatea appears to be becoming attracted to her. This is a sapphic novella, and it's so short I can't really tell you too much more, except that the large spider woman seems to be attracted to Dahlia, and Dahlia may or may not be attracted to the madam of the house, which is very interesting. And they get into a number of things that do remind me of Bluebeard, and I do think the blue spider is intentional because the story is a take on Bluebeard in a sense that there are brides and there are things that cannot be taken and blah blah blah, and you have to do certain things to satisfy the lady of the house. The creepy thing about this is when you're envisioning it, there are just tarantulas everywhere. They don't really discuss them. I think perhaps they are drawn to the madam or something, because they're just tarantulas all throughout this house, but they're very common. Like, they talk about like eating the tarantulas, keeping some as pets, like they're just around, and people are like, meh, just the tarantulas. Also, there's a discussion of poppies, which I thought was very interesting because like poppies are everywhere in this, and it's very like floral and beautiful, and I feel like there's probably a reason specifically for the poppies, besides their beauty in comparison to the tarantulas, because some of the tarantulas are described as very beautiful. Like, there's this beautiful blue one in the story. But yeah, it's just like a very quick read. It is incredibly sapphic. There's no like, I will say there's no like official like steamy scenes or anything, though I suppose if this were a full-length novel, perhaps that would have occurred, but it does not. There are some scenes that are interesting, and there is something that occurs in here where I was like, huh, okay, because I'm not really quite sure how old our main character is. I'm really not. She just says she's been there all her life, and maybe it was said and I just glossed over it, but I can't quite figure out how old she is. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very fun, quick little read. I also read this first because I actually got a notification that someone was waiting for it, and I felt bad, so I wanted to read it like right away, and I'm gonna get it returned. I just have to take a photo of it for the thumbnail. But I'm going to be reading this book next, which is Dead and Breakfast. Come for the vampires, stay for the scones. Lauren from I have this, I just watched her video of spring book recommendations. Hold on, it's like Heart-Shaped Book Club, I think, perhaps. One sec, I'm actually gonna look this up. Sorry, I know this is taking a bit. Mostly because I cannot for the life of me remember things today. Yeah, Haunted Hearts, that's what it is. Haunted Hearts Book Club. It's because we were talking about heart-shaped things. Haunted Hearts Book Club is Lauren's new channel. So I just watched her video, but she recommended Dead and Breakfast, and I was very curious because I love like a cozy mystery slash cozy kind of setting, and it has vampires and it's gay, so I'm incredibly excited. Krista has court tonight. Actually, she has an insane schedule today. There's a lot going on at her office, so yeah, she will be very busy today, so it'll be mostly me, the pups, the cats, and books. So I'm hoping to read a hunk of this tonight. I'm not even like making dinner, we're doing leftovers. I wanted to bake something and Krista wanted me to do no bakes, but I have to check to see if we even have the stuff for it because I'm not sure. But we shall see. But I need to go. So I will talk to you about Dead and Breakfast sometime later today, dear Gremolinos. Possibly. Or tomorrow. I don't know. I'll try and fill you in before I finish it. So I actually give you a clip before I finish a book for once. So yeah. Talk to you later. Hello, Gremolinos. I know. Same angle. I'm sure you're very tired of me being in the same spot. It is Friday. It is a little before work, and I wanted to give you a teeny insights into Dead and Breakfast so far. So I am very much enjoying this. It is very cute. It is for sure a cozy mystery with vampires. So we follow Arthur, who is in the gray suit, and he's closest to me. Yeah, Arthur's closest to me, and then Sal is the shorter, farther away one. They own a bed and breakfast called the Iris Inn in this like small town. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I'm having the worst time with like names today. Like I cannot remember a thing. Does it say? It's the Iris Inn in, oh gosh, Trident Falls. And the reason that they live there is Arthur has fond memories of it. From when he was a child, and after they had to leave where they were living, not for anything too terrible, they left, and he convinced Sal to do this bed and breakfast with him. It's not doing particularly well, but it's in this town, and they finally have a guest named Nora. They just really haven't been getting guests. They had some guests, but it hasn't gone well, and Trident Falls is like trying to have paranormal residents, and there's like a setup that there are like elves and there's a werewolf, and there may be other people that aren't like out paranormals, but he and Sal run this inn, and the body of the mayor is found in their garden, and that's really all we have right now. They have no idea why the mayor was there. He was invited to a wine and cheese, but he didn't show up, so no one has any idea what's going on. And right now Sal is a suspect because it seems like maybe a vampire did it, maybe, in huge quotes. Like, it seems very staged, but we don't know. Also, there's a very cute cat named Rumble who has showed up. She's a stray, but she's very like invested in everything that's going on, and it's very cute. But I'm just very much enjoying the story. We're getting some vampire lore. We're getting a setup of the two of them kind of. Sal is a more flamboyantly vampiric character. He loves telling wild stories of his times, and he's very into like vampire media, which is adorable. And Arthur is more I want to blend in. I don't really want to focus on being a vampire. Sorry, my nose started to itch. He more just wants like fit in Trident Falls. And the two of them are kind of at odds because Sal, not in like a bad way, but like Sal kind of wants him to do vampire theming for the inn, and Arthur is very against it. He wants the inn to be like very normal, very standard, and Sal is a bit more like, oh, it should be wild. And the name for Dead and Breakfast has come up because someone thinks they should rename it because the body was found at the bed and breakfast, and that is very cute. So I am very much enjoying it. I'm so glad that Lauren from, I already mentioned it, it's, oh no, I'm gonna call it the wrong thing again. You know, Lauren from the channel that I mentioned, because I'm having the worst time today. Literally any knowledge I have is like slowly falling out of my brain. I keep wanting to call it Heart-Shaped Book Club, and that is not it. That's totally not it. Oh my gosh. Just I'll link it below so you can find her channel. Oh, my battery is dying. Super quick though. There was wild book news that I found out yesterday before I went to bed. I was just like messing around on my phone, and there was an article about Shy Girl, the Mia Ballard book that was like indie published. People were obsessed with it, and it was getting traditionally published. It's been pulled. It's been pulled by the publisher. It is not releasing in the US anymore. Any books in the UK, like what were sold are sold, and they're not releasing anymore. Like they're just stopping sales after like 1,400 books went out, because it's been determined that the book is primarily or like AI was used in the creation of the book. There's one article I read that said a company that checked it said it was at 78% AI appeared to have been used in the writing process in some capacity. But like, that is wild. And like, they've just pulled the book, and there were no comments from Mia Ballard in any of the articles. They said they did reach out to her, but she declined to comment at this time. So I'm like, that's insane. But also, like, I did watch a video where it was discussed. Frankie Shelves? Literally, I can't remember anything. I just know that the creator's name is Frankie. I also don't know their pronouns. So we're using they, them because I'm not sure. And I don't want to say the wrong ones. So we're going with general they, them. They were talking about it and they thought it was AI. And people were kind of like pushing back. I found some stuff online where it was like, well, that wasn't really like a good means of determining. And it is. It really was. I was gonna read Sugar just because I didn't read Shy Girl. I just watched the full, like, ooh, battery dying, talking fast, the full spoiler video over on Frankie's channel. But yeah, wild, absolutely wild. And now I'm not reading Sugar because I'm like, oh, if that book was made with AI, like, I don't really like want to support your other book by reading it on KU, which, I mean, maybe that's, I don't know. I just feel weird about reading it now that I know that this has been pulled. And like, it's legitimate articles, like Washington Post, New York Times. I understand the media is not always unbiased, but this felt very like just the facts, ma'am, kind of thing. So yeah, absolutely wild. And no one is talking about it. I've been on my Instagram all day today. Well, not all day. I checked my Instagram last night and this morning, and that's the brunt of it. I shared the articles in my stories. Well, the key article, and I shared like what it was. But yeah, no one's talking about it. And I actually just saw a photo of Shy Girl like very prominently on someone's page, and I was like, do you not know about the Shy Girl news? Oh, okay, bye. I'm not saying anything. It's not my job to inform people. But I'm just like, oh, okay. I didn't really have any interest in Shy Girl, admittedly. The plot of it did not seem like something I would enjoy, so I wasn't really that wowed. I want to know what it's about, which is why I watched that video, but like I was not into it. Even when people were like raving about it, I was like, I don't know, something about it just gives me the ick, which is not a phrase I use very often, but it did. I just didn't like that. No. But I need to go because I need to charge my battery. But that's my update. I'll talk to you when I finish Dead and Breakfast. But also, like, please chime in on the Shy Girl news. Am I the only one that saw it? Am I crazy? Cause like I read all these articles, and I'm like, cause like it was on people's best of 2025. Like, I'm just like, eek. Like, that's just so upsetting. I mean, it was the self-published version in many cases, but like some people did review the ARC, and I'm just like, like, oh my god, absolutely wild, absolutely baffling, absolutely horrifying. Anyway, I gotta go. I will talk to you later, Gremlinos, after I finish Dead and Breakfast first. I promise. Also, I'm wearing my squawk sweatshirt because it's comfy and it's Friday and I'm a little tired. All right, bye for now. Hello, Gremlinos. It is Saturday. I am very worn out today. Chris and I were actually supposed to run errands. We were going to take Chloe, and now Chris is just running out to do a couple things. I think she's getting me coffee and just picking up lunch. I was going to go to the library today, but I am not. I'll probably just have her pick them up during her work week or something. I have a couple books in. But I finished Dead and Breakfast last night, and I wanted to talk to you about it because, oh my gosh, this is such a cute, cozy mystery. I just like, it's so cute. So Sal and Arthur I already kind of talked about, but I didn't tell you that Arthur's full name is Arthur Miller, and then he always says no relation. It's just like a cute little bit. But the story really ramps up because the mayor dies, and then Arthur is like, we have to research this because like the body is found on their property and it looks like a vampire did it. And so Arthur's trying to clear Sal's name because they think it's going to be Sal. So he's like doing all this stuff to like try and like figure out who actually did it. And while that's going on, he's becoming closer with their only tenant, Nora, as like a friend. Sal and Arthur are very married. Also, Arthur, I believe, is gay. Sal does say he's bisexual in a humorous way. It's a delight. There's a huge hair on my eye. I can feel it. There we go. But oh my gosh, like their top suspect at one point is injured gravely, and then the case just goes absolutely wild. The whole story is just like so, like, it's keeping you on your toes. There are hints throughout the book, I feel like, but you don't really pay attention to them because everything is just so like wild. They are setting up that this will be a more paranormal town. So Trident Falls has paranormal people living there, but there's like a huge anti-paranormal movement. But we are meeting a lot of the paranormals that live there. There's a werewolf that owns a coffee shop. The coroner is an elf. It's just like, it's all so fun. Or is it? Yeah, an elf. And it was just like, it was such a fun time. Salvatore is such a like ridiculously delightful character. He continuously is like talking about how he did all these things, but the stories are never quite right seeming. So he like really builds up his life, but he's much older than Arthur. But what is funny is Arthur is kind of like a technophobe. Like, he doesn't really pay attention to modern tech, and Sal is like, oh my goodness, you need a cell phone. Like, he's like telling him all this stuff about technology, even though he's the older one. But what is so interesting is you will not guess how they got together, because it's not what you would think. So like, this kept me on my toes. This was so fun. I think if you like cozy mysteries, you'd really like this. I'm also hoping they do more, because Kat Hillis and Rosie Thor did a great job of writing together. I would not have guessed this was duo writing. It all felt very like one person. And I just thought it was a lot of fun. Like, I was very into it. They're just both so cute, and Sal's very into drinking his blood out of a cup with a fun straw. So I don't know, it was just so much fun. There's like a huge big reveal at the end that's a delight for a cozy mystery. I love when it's like a huge reveal. Those are always my favorite, like a wild and unexpected thing. But yeah, I genuinely was just so delighted by it. It was so fun. I am so glad Lauren mentioned it. I am going to return. No, I have to take a photo of it first. I almost returned it before I took a photo. I do have to take a photo of it. I think, oh, the next book I'm going to read is called The One True Me and You. It like popped up on Libby, and I'll show you the cover. It's by Remy K. England. I don't really know much about it. I know that there is like a pageant involved, but that's all I really know. It just like sounded cute when I was scrolling through Libby. So that is going to be the next book I read. I still just, Dead and Breakfast was so fun. And they have to do a series. I really hope they're doing a series, or at least a couple more books, because the title does show up in the book, but like all this stuff happened at the end, and I'm like, please have more books. I really want to see more of Arthur and Salvatore, like solving little mysteries, hanging out in their bed and breakfast with Rumble, their cat. It was just like so cute. I also did very quickly, because I know I mentioned the Shy Girl stuff, which by the time this goes up, everyone will have like seen stuff, because it did start rolling out on Instagram where people were talking about it, which I had not realized that people actually like blurbed the book or like gave buzzy quotes for the book. I had no clue for publication. So I will say there are some things that I did not know about AI in like the book writing community. I'm not like consistently super on that news. My phone just happened to be like, oh hey, you looked up Shy Girl that one time, and so like fed me that article. So apparently other authors have said they use AI, and I know other authors have been caught using AI. I don't know their names. Like, I didn't know one of them, the Million Little Pieces guy, who I don't know why anyone is buying his books. I remember there being a huge scandal when I was like a kid about it being like an Oprah's book club pick, and then everyone was like, he's a liar. So like, I didn't think he was writing any more books, but apparently people let him write another book, so that's just its own thing where I'm like, why the hell would we do that? But like, I know other authors, it has come up, like AI prompts have shown up in books. Could I tell you the book? No. The reason I think Shy Girl is so interesting to me personally, because one, I didn't read the book, because again, the topic of the book, if you don't know and you're somehow here in the book, because I don't believe it was changed. That's the thing that I want to go into really quick. So in the story itself, a woman like loses her job, and then she finds a sugar daddy website. I'm not quite sure that she finds someone who says they'll pay her, but the act she will have to do is she will have to pretend to be a dog, and then of course everything goes from there. Now, the book, Mia Ballard is a woman of color, from what I understand. I did not know that originally. Someone like brought it up because I couldn't find like any details about her. Like, I was like, I don't know who Mia Ballard is, no idea. People have said she is actually a woman of color, and apparently at some point the internet went absolutely bonkers and was like harassing her about it being AI. I think because of the book deal. I could be incorrect, it could have come up before that, but like, we're continuously harassing her, and she had agents or a publicist or someone come out and say like she has like checked herself in to some sort of institution for her benefit because this is all too much for her. And I'm like, that's insane. Like, why? It does, like, one, it's a self-published book. So while AI, not great, I feel like it happens more frequently in self-published books. And so, like, going after one particular person is bizarre. Like, it's happening in indie books. You can sometimes catch it, sometimes you can't. Some indie books, not all. I'm not saying indie publishing is, like, the thing, but I know there are people who attempt to write a number of books just to publish them and just to make money, and so they don't care about the content inside of them. There are actually, like, things online that teach you how to do this. You can find them if you look, but they will tell you, oh, just use AI, it's fine. So I'm not saying that I'm sure there's a ton of AI books flooding the market all the time. What I find interesting in this case, this is the thing that gets to me. So I assumed personally that when it was announced that Mia Ballard got a contract, I was like, oh, that's good for her. I had assumed that the agency that purchased the book was going to go through the book and require additional edits, additional writing, corrections, you know, like normal stuff. Like, I was like, she'll probably have to re-edit it, rewrite parts of it. Like, that was my assumption. Like, you got a book contract, they're going to want it to not read as indie. And what it sounds like to me is, like, they picked up this book, they were like, oh, you probably edited it, right? And, like, threw it out into publication for arcs and all of that stuff. I could be incorrect. I know they recreated the cover because the cover was technically, like, it used someone's actual art without crediting them, and so they redid it, but they used, like, similar art so you could still identify the book. And whatever, that's fine, it's a cover. I'm also very sure people are using, even if they don't know it, they may still be using AI to create covers. I don't make covers. I would hire someone to make covers. But, like, if someone was actively trying to make their own cover because it's indie published, I could see them using something that assists, and that might be an issue. And you might not think about copyright when you make your own cover. Like, I get it. That one, I'm kind of like, the indie covers sometimes get a little loosey-goosey. If you look at certain types of books, the covers will all look very similar. And I've just, like, done some odd research into certain publishing things. There are places that will tell you what to use or what to do. And if you're not working with, like, a company that verifies, it's going to say, like, oh, we won't use copyright material, blah, blah, blah. Like, you could get yourself in trouble on accident just not thinking. So I was like, okay, bad idea. You should redo the cover, but okay. So, like, the major publisher redid the cover. But what bugs me in this situation is they're saying, well, we finally, like, checked it because they apparently didn't check it before. And they're like, oh, we've checked it now, and now it's an issue. And I'm like, you're a publishing company. Like, I, in college, grad school, was a TA. And part of my job was to, like, check papers. And they had to be turned in, like, by hand. But I know that there were people who had papers that were submitted through an online portal, and those papers were checked for, like, plagiarism, for concerns. And I'm just like, I get that you can't train software to catch AI 100%, but you're telling me you, a publisher, did not, like, run it through a program like they have for schools, at least, that does a quick AI check? Because I know that exists now. I know they've made that for schools. So you didn't even do that? Or if you did, the rate of risk didn't seem that bad? Like, I'm just like, I don't understand. A lot of this, to me at this point, falls on the publisher, because, or the publisher, the editing team, whoever was brought in once her book was picked up for publication. And so that's what bugs me. Ballard herself created an indie book, which, again, I think it's not great that you use AI, but also indie book being self-published. Like, I just, in my mind, I feel like it's gonna happen and you have to use your best judgment. And so I'm just like, okay. But when you get the book deal, even if you're terrified to disclose it, let's say they asked her to disclose and she didn't really think about it. Like, she was just kind of like, well, I guess I did, but not really. Like, maybe she used the AI to assist in, someone did. I'm not saying she did. Maybe, because she is now saying, like, an editor possibly used it. So, like, let's say someone who touched the book used AI and we didn't know. Or, hell, let's say we did use AI and we don't really want to disclose that we used AI because we didn't think we used it that much, or maybe we used it just a little bit and we didn't think it was a problem. Okay, maybe she just didn't think to disclose it. Maybe she thought it was mild enough. Again, this is all theoretical. Let's say anyone involved in the Ballard writing team, because she had an agent before this, she had people before that, they maybe know a little bit happened. And they're like, yeah, this is not bad enough. Like, it's fine. Other people have used AI, which is true. Other people in the publishing industry have used AI. So I'm just like, okay. So they were like, we didn't use it enough. It's fine. And now the publisher is in a snit and decides we got to cancel everything. It's done. You've already released books in the UK, so like, it's not done. You did release books. You've made money off of this process. What bothers me is truly that you brought in an indie author and you were like, bing, bang, boom, out. It just sounds like they didn't even like proof the book, edit the book, do anything to like possibly boost the book, like give the book its best chance, because they were like, oh, it's already so popular. Why do we need to do anything? Again, this is all theoretical. I don't work in publishing. I don't write books, but I'm just going to point out, I feel like if there are tools that schools use to check papers, because I know they've announced that, I know schools have that, why didn't we do this to the book? And if the book did not indicate any concerns, why didn't we at least like do some additional edits, proof the book a bit more? Like that's really what bothers me, because at this point I'm like, isn't it on the publisher that they didn't even like edit the work or think about doing edits to the work, or possibly want to assist in making the book even better so that people would really want to buy this new edition even if they already owned the indie edition? Like, wouldn't the idea be that you want to say like, oh, it's this but better, because people already owned the indie version. Why release the exact same thing? So I had been curious to see, this is my thought, because I was not interested in the plot of the first one. I was not. Again, that's why I watched the video, because I was like, do I want to? No. And that's fine. Again, different strokes for different folks. I, though, am just like, I wanted to know how they would improve the book, make the book even better for people who already liked it. And that's what bothers me, because I'm like, it seems like you didn't do anything. You bought a book, you paid money, you did not then want to invest any time or any money into improving the book in some capacity for its release. And again, I don't know that they didn't, but it also seems like they didn't, based on the fact that they're like, never mind, we're pulling it. Which makes me think they did nothing. They did no edits, they did no assisted improvements, they did no pass-throughs. It doesn't sound like they did anything to make the book better or different for non-independent release. And that's what bothers me. That's truly what bothers me, because once you have that contract, once they are looking through that book, they are at fault in part. Like, I feel like they're more at fault for not doing their due diligence before actually publishing the book. They could have waited a couple more months. They could have held it. They could have done so many things to ensure that the book did well and had no concerns. Like, that's the issue for me, because your author wrote a book. You purchased that book as is, technically. It's your job then to improve the book. Like, you're a big publisher. That's what your job is. I'm just ranting now. That's what bothers me. I do think it is absolutely ludicrous to go after someone consistently online, because I guess this happened. I don't know. Again, I did not even know what her, like, anything was. I had no clue, even if Mia Ballard had an online presence. No freaking clue. I did look up a little bit, like, just because I was curious about the book, and I was like, do I want to read this? And that's how I fell down the rabbit hole with, like, Reddit and YouTube. But I did not look for her. I did not need to interact with the author. I just needed to know what the book was about and whether I would like it. And then I wanted to see some critique or review of the book outside of the positive ones I had seen, because I felt like I wasn't getting reviews that like resonated with me. Like, I needed to find a different audience who wasn't as into the plot, because I needed to see what they said about the book. Because people were saying like it was a feminist like revenge story, and I was like, but these stories aren't. Like, I'm confused based on the plot descriptions and all of that. So like, I needed someone else to like explain it to me, I guess. So I just was like trying to do my own due diligence before reading it, because I didn't want to start reading it and then be like, ugh, never mind. Like, I really just wanted like more thoughts than what I found on YouTube, which happened. I was truly just trying to like do due diligence, would never have even investigated. Like, I tried to find her Instagram account to see if there were like critical reviews or something, but like I couldn't even find it. Like, I was like, oh, I don't know who this woman is. But that is how I found out she was a woman of color. And I do think that's not being brought up consistently. I have seen some stuff now that is like saying, well, why are we punishing a woman of color like this? And it's baffling. Like, you know, people use AI at this point in the publishing industry. You have to. And you're now just like, oh, we've canceled everything. And I'm like, okay, but you probably have people who do and you know about it and you're not doing anything about that. So why didn't we just hold, fix, republish? Like, that's what's bothering me. Like, you didn't do your due diligence as a publisher and now you're punishing the author when you could have fixed it. You could have made it better. You could have spent the time. Like, indie author, then debut. This was a debut book. Why did we not spend the time to uplift the debut book? That's all I'm saying. That's what bothers me the most, is that it's on the publisher to make the book better. Like, or the agency or whoever. Again, I'm not in the book world. That's what's baffling to me. Anyway, I'm done. This clip is very long. I'm so sorry. I have 2 books left for this vlog, actually, surprisingly. And I'm not going to talk about Shy Girl anymore. I promise. So yeah, that's done. The rants of Catherine are over. But I'm going to go. I'm about to cough, so I think I should go. But I will talk to you later about my book. Oh gosh, I've talked so much. Can't even remember the title anymore. The One True Me and You. I will talk to you about this at some point later this weekend. Bye for now, Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. It has been a while since I talked to you. Over the weekend, I didn't really vlog. I think I vlogged a teeny bit, maybe. I genuinely don't even remember. I actually called in sick on Monday because I felt like trash. So I didn't go into work on Monday. But it is Tuesday morning before work. And so there we go. I wanted to update you because I did actually finish my book. I think, yes, I think I vlogged Saturday because I finished a book. I think that was Saturday. Maybe that was Friday night. I genuinely don't know anymore. I really don't. But I finished The One True Me and You. I had planned to update you like at the halfway point, but it was a YA book and I had read through a hunk of it and then kind of stopped. And then last night I read a tiny bit before I went to bed and then I finished it pretty early this morning. I did not have that much left, so I had plenty of time before work to knock out the last like I think 70 pages. It's YA, so again, a pretty fast read. But I wanted to talk to you about the book because it was actually a very cute read and also involved a lot of like deeper topics about like feminism and like not being judgmental of other women and femme presenting people. And I say femme presenting people because the core of this book focuses on Tegan and Kay. They are in like alternating perspectives. Tegan is in Orlando at a specific hotel for the like Miss Cosmic Teen pageant. And it's like her last big pageant before college. I'm trying to get into an angle where the lighting is okay. There we go. And Tegan's goal is to win the pageant. Now, this typically has not happened. She's done very well, but she has not won at this level before, but it's a big scholarship and it would mean she wouldn't have to try and do pageants anymore after she graduated. She could just focus on going to college. Now, unbeknownst to her, when she arrives at this hotel in Orlando, she does wind up staying with her friend, Jess, who is Miss Pennsylvania, and the two of them are very excited, but weirdly enough, there is a convention going on. It's called the Great Game Con, and it's actually the show that Tegan loves, and she's shocked that they're happening at the same time. And it does turn out that the con was planned well in advance, and the hotel is kind of like, sorry, like they booked us first, you booked us after, you're kind of splitting the space. Sorry that we couldn't do designated rooms on designated floors for each event, but they're like, sorry, this is just how it worked out. Like, we already had rooms booked on various floors because we didn't know you were coming here. So what happens is Tegan and Jess wind up being next door to Kay and their friends. And on top of that, everyone's least favorite person in the world, Miss North Carolina, is next door to all of them. Like, it's Jess and Tegan in the middle, Kay and their friends to like the left, and to the right is Miss North Carolina and whoever she's rooming with. I think Miss Oregon? I can't quite remember, but it doesn't matter. So Tegan is shocked and is like, well, I kind of want to go to the con, but like, I'm not really allowed because of everything that's going on with the pageant. There are a lot of rules. And then Kay is there. Unbeknownst to Kay, this pageant is going on, and this sucks because Kay is from North Carolina, and Miss North Carolina goes to their school. and Miss North Carolina is trash. That is collectively throughout the book. Miss Carolina is known to everyone who is a good person as not a good person. And now Kay is kind of panicked. So Kay has come to this con, took a lot of convincing to be able to even come to this con. They are staying with their best friend, Amy. And then there's Lady and Cakes, who are their online friends, who are also there. I think they're all, they're not all staying in the same room, but they spend a lot of time in Kay and Amy's room. I believe they're not all staying in the same room. That semantics of that does not matter. But what happens is Kay and Tegan wind up meeting at this kind of evening closeout pool party karaoke sort of thing that the convention is hosting. Now it's like a free event that's happening, like the con is hosting, but if you're just like at the hotel you can go. And Tegan sneaks off to go to this event, and at that moment she meets Kay, and then the two of them kind of hit it off sort of instantaneously. Now this all is very new to Kay. Kay is trying out a few things. Kay wants to try and use they them pronouns for the first time. Kay wants to kiss a girl for the first time. Now Kay does get into like they have been with other people before, but it sounds like only men, and they really want to verify that they actually are queer, which is interesting because I don't think you need to actually kiss someone of the same sex or identity or however you want to define that. I feel like you don't have to kiss them to know, but some people need that reassurance. I just don't think you do. I think you can know without having like explicitly kissed someone or done anything with someone of the same gender as you or the same identity as you or however. But that's just me. So there are things Kay wants to try out. There's something else Kay wants to do. Those are the like two key things. There's another thing on the checklist, but those are the two big ones. And Kay is also like in this contest for like best original Sherlock Holmes adaptation because The Great Game is a Sherlock Holmes inspired television show. I am going to say think the BBC one. They say it's different than that, but kind of theoretically think of it as that one because it seems like it's sort of like coming off of that show, which had a very large fandom and a lot of people shipped John with Sherlock, and that's like the whole thing. There are also some other discussions of other fandoms, like two female characters in the show are shipped together. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that. But the book itself is following these two people who are trying to like deal with the fact that they're not really able to be out in their normal environment. So Tegan can't really be out because she's in pageants, and that's not like a thing pageant people accept. So she's pretty closeted. Like her close friends, like her best friend knows, Jess, and her father, but no one else really knows. And the same is true for Kay. Kay is in a very restricted environment where they live, and they can't really use the pronouns they want or even try them out. And they definitely can't come out as into girls. So that's interesting for both of them. They're kind of dealing with having to be closeted, but the story is the two of them becoming more comfortable with each other and really trying to embrace parts of themselves that they can't embrace fully typically. So the story does have a very positive message. It's a very sweet story overall, and I did very much enjoy it. There are some big blow up moments that do make sense. Also, everyone's a teenager. They're like between 18, I think everyone's like around 18, 17. Maybe some of them are a tiny bit older, but predominantly these are teenagers who have not even yet gone to college. So they're very still in the thick of like high school drama and dealing with things. A couple plots do feel tied up very quickly that you don't really see, which is fine. But just know like there's some stuff with Miss North Carolina where like something happens, but we don't 100% know what happened because it's not on page. But you can kind of surmise what's going on. But yeah, I did overall very much enjoy the story. I thought it was very cute. And I liked the dynamic between all the characters. Also, it had a soft spot in my heart because I actually met Krista, my wife, at a convention. The two of us met in Las Vegas at Klexicon, which I believe is now defunct. I do not believe they have had an event in a while. But they started Klexicon back in, oh gosh, 2017? No. Yes? Oh my gosh, my brain is soup. I'm trying to do math. Oh, my brain is so tired. Yeah, it had to have been 2017. So we met at Klexicon. Through like an odd series of events. I had never met Krista online, but she had met someone that we both mutually knew online. It was a whole thing, but I wound up meeting Krista by chance. And the two of us then later planned a trip to New York City, which was a huge surprise. And we like really hit it off. We were friends, and then ultimately we wound up getting married. But that Klexicon was a queer women's fandom con, so it was named after Clark and Lexa from the 100, but the two of us wound up going not for the 100. She had watched it, I had not. I went because the two leads from Carmilla the web series were going to be there, and at the time it was assumed that there was nothing else coming from like being created for Carmilla, and I wanted to go to see them because I didn't think they would ever be in the US again, because Carmilla was Canadian. It was filmed fully in Canada. And I was like, oh, they'll never be in the US again, which I was wrong. They wound up being in the US a few more times. But at the time I was like, oh, this is my last chance. So I went to see them, and Krista went to see South of Nowhere, which I have now watched, but I had not seen. But South of Nowhere had not really been at any conventions. And they invited them because it was on the N back in the early 2000s. And the two leads who make up Splashly, Spencer and Ashley, were going to be there. And that was a huge deal for Krista because she religiously watched the show when it was on. And so she was there for that. And then it just wound up being that we wound up getting together. It was like a whole thing. So the fact that this is a very queer accepting fandom con that they're at was very sweet, and it was very cute. And I was very glad I read this because it was very like nostalgic-y, even though it's not exactly the same kind of con, but it was very sweet. It made me think of my wife, which is lovely. So yeah, I do recommend. I thought it was fun. So I actually have another book I'm going to read. I'm not gonna start it anytime soon, but I will be reading the final book for this vlog. And my iPad went to sleep. I should just tell you. Hold on. Oh, I'm wearing a very cute Harley and Ivy shirt, which you can kind of see. I wanted to go for Fandom-y. Also, yes, I have a blanket and a cat on my lap. I don't know if you saw the cat. Let me try and get this open. I did not pull up the other book. Also, I need to take a photo of this book still. I have not done that. Oh, come on. There we go. All right. The final book in this vlog is going to be the short story collection that I've been trying to read for a very long time. Be Gay, Do Crime, 16 Stories of Queer Chaos. I'm very excited for this. So I'm just gonna like slowly read that. It'll be the final book. I don't know how I'm gonna talk about it yet because short story collections for me are a little difficult to discuss because sometimes you love a story, sometimes you don't like a story. For me, it's typically hit or miss with short story collections. So I will talk to you about it in whatever way I feel, possibly as I go through. Oh my gosh, but I promise it's the last book. I added this on a whim because it was available through Libby and I was shocked because I've been trying to get it, but nowhere around here has had it. I haven't seen it at a bookstore when I have gone to a bookstore, so I was just excited to find it. But I gotta go. I will talk to you about Be Gay, Do Crime later. So see ya in a bit, Gremlinos. Hello, Gremlinos. I have a new work setup, which is very awkward and just shows you like a lot of random things behind me. But Krista got me like a laptop desk thing. I don't know, but it's set up in front of me. And so you're getting the Nook. I'm wearing my Yay for Gay shirt, which you can kind of see. There you go. And so I ate lunch with Krista, but I was like working while I ate, and then I never marked that I was at lunch. So it is like the end of my work day. But I'm just taking like a couple minutes to actually like talk to you. So I have finished Be Gay, Do Crime. And I feel like the title of this is slightly misleading. Like, it's a delightful title, Be Gay, Do Crime, perfect. Not all of these stories involve crimes. I feel like almost none of them involve an actual crime. And what's awkward is the stories I liked don't involve real crimes. They just don't. The first story of this did not set me off on a good path. I did not like the first story. I'm not going to get into that story. I will say it's odd to me because it involves basically an abandoned child and sort of a kidnapping. Like, it was just an odd way to start this. Chloe, what you doing? She probably needs water. I'm going to be quick. So because a lot of these stories were hit or miss for me, I have actually decided that I am just going to talk to you about the four, I think it was four, like standout stories for me that I enjoyed. And one of them is kind of a gimme because it's by Emily Austen. I'm going to start with that one just because it reads like an Emily Austen book. Like, I could see it as a chapter in an Emily Austen book, honestly. It's called Grand Beaver Cabin, and in this we are following a main character who has been entering children's coloring contests just because she always wanted to be an artist, but as a child it seems like she has never, like, she's just not particularly good at art, but she's desperately wanted to be an artist, and so because she's not great, she keeps entering these kids contests because she's a ringer. Like, like a mediocre adult is an incredible child in her opinion, so she keeps winning these prizes, and she wins a stay at the Grand Beaver Cabins. Is it Grand Beaver Cabins? Grand Beaver Lodge? It's basically the Great Wolf Lodge but with beavers. Yeah, Grand Beaver Cabin. But it was just like a fun, like, weird little story, but it read like Emily Austen, so I enjoyed it because I literally just read Is This a Cry for Help earlier in this novel, earlier in this vlog. Sorry, the cats are moving around and now the dogs are like, what's happening? But like, I liked that one. Wild Ale by S.J. Sindhu was fine. It's set around quarantine, and so like our main character and her girlfriend are in their apartment together, and they're kind of getting very annoyed with each other, and they don't really have a good relationship to begin with. The issue then becomes that our main character is obsessed with making homebrew. Constantly is like entering contests, is entering a specific contest, and then for whatever reason in the story the homebrews keep going bad, and there's like a protest outside, so they decide to like do stuff with the homebrew. It was fine. I feel like in a majority of these stories, none of the relationships are good. Like, no one is in a non-toxic relationship. The only one that kind of is fine relationship-wise is actually Operation Hyacinth by Sam Cohen. That one was fine for me. This would be like a fifth. I'm just throwing this one in here. But it's more friendship relationships than anything else. So like the friendship is very sweet, but the story was just like kind of all over the place for me. But I did at least like the relationship aspect of that because it was very like found family. Oh my gosh. So the next two are Peep Show by Alyssa Nutting. That one, the concept was fine. It was just weird, and that's why it kind of stood out for me. The main character in that one, and again, I don't remember any characters' names at this point, the main character in that one keeps watching a woman at work, but the reason she's watching her is they actually used to date and have broken up, and they broke up because our main character stole their boss's dog, and she thinks the boss can see her through the dog, and she starts becoming fixated with, like, because she feels like every time the dog has caught her having sex with her girlfriend, that she's gotten a promotion or something beneficial has happened to her at work, which is bizarre. And that's like the whole premise. And I was like, this is the weirdest, like, it just stuck out because I was like, this is nuts. Like, oh boy. And like, there's no law broken in this. Like, there's no crime. The only thing she's done is violate her, I'm sorry that the lighting is so weird, is violate her boss's don't date anyone at work policy. And that's it. That's like the quote unquote crime. Also, there is no actual crime in the homebrew one. There are people going outside without masks on, and there's like a mask mandate, but that's it. Like, people are leaving their houses and they're not supposed to. But is that entirely a crime? No. So that one was weird. Let's see. Yeah, Grand Beaver Cabin is just not even really a crime, but it was humorous. And then, okay, so this one is called Fuck You Money by Francesca Equiasi. I'm guessing that's how you say her last name. That one also was not a crime. None of these are actually crimes. This one was just goofy because it started with someone telling you that they've been having like a string of bad luck for years, like at least a couple years. Everything's been crap, and they even had to like shave their head and like get rid of their locks because they got lice, and they don't even know how they got lice. And we learn that our main character was cursed, and literally we just get like a recounting of the relationship that resulted in the curse, but also the person who cursed our main character did not deserve the ability to curse them. Like, they were also a bad partner, and then they cursed them. And I was like, what? But then like the story ends happily for our main character, but it was just so random. Like, they run into each other and the person's like, I have been trying to find you. I'm about to get married. I really need to undo this curse I did on you. And I was like, what? So like, they were fun. Like, those four, the fifth one was fun, but kind of like all over the place for me, where I was like following it, but not really. Also, I had kind of zoned out a little. and also my focus is just like, no, you've zoned out. What? At that point I was just kind of like not invested in the collection anymore, which is not that author's fault. It just, none of the stories were really like gripping. And again, none of them are like, there are a couple with like technically like 5-finger discounts, like minor thievery is mentioned in a lot of them. There is actually a crime in that last one I mentioned, Operation Hyacinth. They rob banks. But most of these, it's like the crime is like theft. And it's like very minor theft, if anything. I mean, maybe some of it is felony level, but I don't think so. So like the crimes weren't what I expected. I was expecting more like dramatic crimes. And it just, they weren't. So it was fine. I definitely hyped myself up too much for this collection. And that's on me, but it had such a good title and I was so excited. But yeah, so short story collections can be hit or miss. And in this situation, this one's more of a miss for me than a hit. Just because I was expecting more like outlandish, like chaos stuff. And this felt more just like there's some relationship stuff going on. No one's in a good relationship. And also we're doing goofy stuff. So overall it was fine. I just do think I hyped it up way too much in my own head because the title is so good. The cover is fun. But yeah, I think I made it too exciting in my head. And it just didn't live up to my own expectations. But overall, I had a very fun time doing this vlog. It took me forever because I like didn't vlog for multiple days in there, but I had a fun time. I read some good books. Yeah, I really think that's it. I just kind of need to end this vlog at this point because it's taking me forever and I need to edit it. Not that my editing skills are good, so I just at least need to like format the video. And that's the thing I need to do this week. So yeah, that is everything. Have you read any of these? Let me know your thoughts on any of them. I'm curious if you read anything or if you have suggestions for me. I'm about to sneeze. I'm trying to avoid it. But yeah, so let me know if you have suggestions for any queer books, gay books, anything you think I might enjoy in the comments below. If you like this video, you know, thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz. I actually have a bunch of books I have to read that are due back to the library soon, so I need to get to those. I also have another book in at the library. I have so many library books out. It's not that bad. I've had way more out, but I unexpectedly have more than I anticipated. But I must go. So I think that's it. Oh, they all say I have to go. I will see you in the next one, Gremlin. Bye!